Hi, internet friends. Tis moi, Brendan O'Connell, coming to you live from Kuala Lumpur. We're going to do a little bit of a rundown, a bit of a debrief over the rather largest loss of the Republicrats, the Republican thingies, the Trumpians in the lower house. I was just listening to my Alex Jones daily, which I have to get through a VPN. If I go from directly my laptop and try to download any of the audio, I just get flicked off. I get like 2 weeks ago their show, or when I'm actually on their site or watching a video, catching up, my connection is disconnected. It's Alex Eve. Oh boy, do they dislike me. So I have to go through a VPN on my phone just to get their show. But I was listening to Pumpkinhead complain, why did we lose? And he's got Ted Nugent, the man who guts deers with his teeth and eats. If you don't know who Ted Nugent is, he's a little rock and roll star. Actually, I quite like some of his music, but he's there saying, "What's wrong with Americans? Don't they want to gut a deer and ride a horse and shoot guns?" And we were confused. Why won't you vote for Donald Trump? Well, there's a few reasons. So instead of looking and asking themselves that you're not going to save Western civilization by claiming you're going to save Israel, number one, there's your first problem. And of course, there's a whole multitude of problems to do with Donald Trump's ethics and morals. We already know that Ms. Hillary Clinton is a disgusting, vile demon with her disgusting, vile Podesta emails and a disgusting, vile witchcraft semen drinker. I mean, they're just fucking nutcases, all right? We know, we understand. A crook involved in drug money laundering, involved in drugs and hundreds of tons of cocaine through Mena, Arkansas, with the Bush family and the whole Iran Contra thing. She was just sitting there, little knew nothing, housewife at home baking cookies. Well, old Roger Reeves, old mate of mine, was handing Barry Seal $50,000 a pop to hand to the sheriff to hand a bill. You know how it goes. That was before Iran Contra really got going, of course, with the 1 to 1.5 tons per fat lady plane load with Barry Seal. As I'm getting older, I can play old and wise. There's whole generations don't even know what I'm talking about. What? You don't know about Barry Seal, Iran Contra, Mena, Arkansas, the boys on the train tracks? Whole generations now. Let's get back to Pumpkinhead and Ted Nugent. We'll play just 5 minutes max, and they're bitching and whining about why they lost. And then I'm going to tell you why they lost. Because apparently they think all of America wants to ride horses, shoot guns, and gut deer and be Marlboro men and be manly and take back America. And, this shows you the level these clowns are acting at. Let's now go to Alex Jones and Ted Nugent. Alex has got his little jihad beard on. He's looking fit and well. And I will, of course, interject as we go along.
Caravans that were already arriving, not just the big one. And so,
The ubiquitous caravan, which was probably organised by Roger Stone, he was been away for the last week or two, occasionally popping in. He's been very busy organising the caravan, no doubt.
we have to fight the violation of free speech. We have to fight the Chinese meddling in the election, which was public.
The Chinese meddling, not the Israeli meddling. No, 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 no. The Chinese meddling, of course, of course.
We have to have the Republicans go on the offense against the Democrats, just like the Democrats just did.
Yes, we have to polarize, make it right wing, left wing, liberal versus conservative. Yes, we understand the Hegelian dialectic. I'm not being I'm not being an asshole just for the sake of it. He's a dick, all right. He's a dangerous dick. He's got a massive audience. I'd like to say we could co-opt it, but this is why you need to threaten him. You need to end up at his house, as I did in my last video. You need to be at his house and at his place of business lobbying until he realizes that he's going to have to say something. And if he will not name Israel, which to be honest, he can't be, he's got him by the balls. Look, Alex Jones is a drug addicted, womanizing, prostitute using alcoholic piece of shit. I'm sorry. All right. I've watched him religiously for a very long time, sometimes very painfully. And I know people that know him in Austin. His antics in Austin are legendary. Partying on Motley Crue concerts, hookers, coke, meth, you name it. Legendary. Completely compromised. We know his background, of course, we went into that yesterday. But as long as Pumpkinhead continues to push this line to save Western civilization, we must save Israel. We must blame Saudi for 9/11. We must ignore the Ode Yanon plan. We must ignore the work of Christopher Bodlin. We must ignore these things. Then what he's going to do is he's not going to have a base because the real patriots like you and me who are listening to this stuff, we know what the truth is. He's lost us. And then, of course, you have all the newbie dumb, well, I don't know what their IQ is, but it's pretty low. Then you had the initial enthusiastic people that thought Trump might bring some jobs back. But as time's gone on and the people are starting to assimilate a lot of the material on Trump and his Russian-Israeli collusion, the drug money laundering through his properties into Sheldon Adelson, the casinos, and the Israeli firsters, and we just had released by Al Jazeera, the Israeli lobby, which is hugely damaging. Alex Jones is not going to click on about why they lost the election. He's just not going to click on. Let him continue hanging himself with Ted Nugent, who's having a fit.
But we have real meat and potatoes here. That's my view on all this. 20-something seats in the House, 3 new Senate seats. So it's a trade-off, but they're going to use those committees now. The one that Maxine Waters heads up that deals with the financing of the country to try to sabotage. The Dems have 34 in the House,
hey, Pumpkinhead,
and 3 in the Senate. And it's a pretty big win for them there. Some GOP are trying to spend.
Now, they're not going to get Trump, all right? It's not going to happen. Forget it. Who's got all their emails? Who's got all the dirt on them? And come on, man. BB's running the kill squads. People are going to disappear. People are going to jump out of windows. Planes are going to have their tails fall off in fair weather flying. No one's touching Trump, all right? It's going to be the U.S. military.
And Obama lost 60 plus in the House and a whole bunch of senators. Well, yes, that's great. That's a bigger defeat. This could have been a lot worse. But the fact that Trump has had his legs cut out from under him with all the internet censorship is a big deal. Joining us is Ted Nugent.
Yes, Trump's very vulnerable. He's only the president of the United States with massive powers of executive orders, which Obama used prodigiously, as did then President George W. Bush. George Bush Jr. George W. Bush. Trump's just powerless. He doesn't know what to do. He's powerless. Oh my God, what do I do? And there's a coup, and he's got the entire military and intelligence community behind him. But Trump's powerless. What's he gonna do when they come for you?
Give us his aftermath take. He privately told me that he was, putting a good face on it, but he had a bad feeling. So did I. But again, I think the illegals and folks voting in dead people's names, which is confirmed everywhere in many places, pushed him over the top, plus a record spending. So, Ted, thanks for coming on with us, Mr. Nugent.
Remember, it's not because they're a bunch of dickheads and Alex Jones is a piece of shit lying through his teeth every day. And we all remember that super deluxe video, I should put it up, where, he just lies through his teeth countless. So I never said that. I never did that. We all know what he said and what he didn't say, as he makes another $57 million a year. I mean, what can I tell you? Anyway, I'll try and not interrupt.
Well, thanks, Al. It's my pleasure. I'm kind of sharing a dynamic roller coaster ride of emotions here with you today, but it's a happy November 7th to everyone anyway, and I suppose we need to keep our chin up and keep our spirit positive. Today is my son Theodore Tobias Nugent's 42nd birthday, and we shared it of the Cuckoo's Next Clockwork Orange, Twilight Zone insanity, and I don't recognize these people. I don't recognize them as thinking, conscientious, moral beings.
Well, Ted, that's my next question.
Given up.
That's my next question, because you look at Michigan, which I've had family that lived up there in the 50s, 60s, you name it. I know all about it, vacation up there, the Great Lakes, all of it's beautiful. It was as American, red-blooded, kick-ass, John Wayne, Chuck Yeager as Texas was, and then it got taken over, just like Vermont was, and now it is the bluest of the blue cesspools. So when I look at Michigan and how sad it is and how it's been destroyed in many areas, still has this great beauty and a lot of great people in the country, I'm saying Texas only put amazing Ted Cruz, perfect for Texas, total constitutionalist patriot, only beating by 3 points. That, to me, is frightening, and that's why the New York Times brags. They think in the next decade, if we don't do something, we're going to go the way of California and then the way of Michigan. And
so it goes on that there wasn't enough hunting of deer and gutting and of the deer and eating the meat raw and manliness and Marlboro men, and it's all these liberals, these horrible liberals, these horrible left-wingers, these lefties, these commies. But it's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump's just fine. There's no problem. There's no problem with the continuous support of the Israeli state bleeding the US dry. It's go to securing our interests at talpiottalk.com. Chabad. I want to talk about Chabad Lubavitch. This mob of cretinous, disgusting, vile creatures. I don't even know what they are. They are truly the synagogue of Satan. Is there any doubt? Putin loves, I mean, there's nothing to see here. I mean, we're so used to it, it's just normal. There's nothing to see here with Putin hanging with Chabad. There's nothing to see here when we see good old Bibi hanging with Chabad. And there's nothing to see when we see Chabad Lubavitch with Trump and Trump's, oh, I'm going to blame the Jews for ruining my connection, but really it was me forgetting to plug the cable in. And there's Donald Trump and his daughter and son-in-law deep in bed with, in fact, they are members of Chabad Lubavitch. And, they're there with Bush. I mean, they're with everyone. But it's never been like this. It's never, ever been like this. And you got, look at it. You understand the significance of this? This is incredible and what lunatics they are. I mean, could this have something to do? Could there be enough people out there that are a little bit worried about this relationship with a bunch of satanic, psychotic lunatics who say things like this? This is Chabad Mafia. They're all out of the Ukraine. Oh, there they are again, the Ukraine. Oh, yes, all those Polish, Russian communists. A non-Jewish soul. This is Menachem Schneerson. Okay, this is the head. A non-Jewish. This is a Jewish site. Chabad Mafia, to the credit. I mean, Jews say it. This people are not. These are lunatics. This is from Jews themselves. A non-Jewish soul comes from 3 satanic spheres, while the Jewish soul stems from holiness. That's the Chabad Lubavitch Rebbe, Menachem Menel Schneerson. Oh dear. Someone's decided, I'm going to keep going. Just go to chabadmafia.com and have a read. Sometimes I just stop because I'm thinking, no one's going to believe me anyway. And most of the people watching this, you know all this stuff. I remember what I was like when I first came. I didn't believe it. I just said if that was true, it'd be on the BBC, PBS, the ABC. They couldn't just not report this. They're lunatics. I mean, they freak. They said, they're having them and their Orthodox friends, the rabbinic elite, the non-Kabbalists, the Babylonian Talmud are casually discussing killing non-Jews to take their organs. Yes. Do we have the legal right to kill a non-Jew and take their organs? What do you think, Moshe? Yeah, I think so. And they said yes. Top rabbis in Israel. The Israeli press was even reporting it. People and no one else reported it, just the Israeli press. The New York Times, anybody? Didn't you not want to go and say, I think it's time we had a discussion about Orthodox Judaism and the Hasidim, whether it's Kabbalah, Jewish mystical types like Chabad Lubavitch, or it's the Kahanas, the Rabbi Avadia Yosef saying non-Jews will be our slaves and are our slaves, and that they're the animals and soulless. I mean, at what point do we not use this? Are the Saudis so stupid? Is the Arab Muslim world with all that money, all that oil money so stupid they never saw the leverage? Oh my God, they're attacking us. They're attacking Islam. What do? They're so hard to defeat. Let's fund ISIS or the Sunni militias. What about you fund people like me and another 100, 200 people who have 2 brain cells so that we can go after them? Because clearly you're too stupid, Saudi and the Gulf states. You're obviously very stupid people. You've got all that money, but you never thought, boy, we've got a bit of leverage here. We've got their top rabbis, not some idiot rabbi from Schlocksville, Possum Trot, Kentucky, or the foothills of Afghanistan. Their top rabbis in Israel saying non-Jews are their slaves and you can kill them to take their organs. You think, Abdul, Allah Akbar, that could be a bit of leverage right there. Yeah? You don't think? 9/11, the work of Christopher Lynn. Hello, Saudis, GCC, billionaire Saudi princes. The Sultan of Brunei. I see all your friends shopping in their beekeeper suits for their lingerie, sexy lingerie, and Louis Vuitton handbags. Any chance you give us some money so we can do the job for you? Because clearly you're too freaking stupid to work it out. I mean, that is amazing. Chabad Lubavitch, there's a glaring thing that might have had something to do with a lot of people saying these people are dangerous psychotic lunatics and they're fully affiliated with Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Benjamin Netanyahu Milikowski, aka Mr. Milikowski, the shoe salesman from the back alleys of Krakow. You can just Google this stuff. It's child's play. Child's play. I mean, we've got our own little hubbub people. This is from good old David Irving's Real History. A Melbourne judge lifted a suppression order yesterday following an extraordinary tale of a master money launderer. Now, Paul Barry is an excellent Australian Broadcasting Commission. It's the equivalent of the BBC. It's the ABC. Excellent investigative reporter. He's done a lot of groundbreaking stuff. Now, Mr. Goldberg is Habada Lubavitch out of Melbourne. Melbourne is the New York of Australia. It's where all the hardcore Habada Lubavitches and nutcases exist. We've got prisoner X, Ben Zigia, was schooled there in the same school that Mr. Oh, God, I've forgotten his name. My good friend, the Liberal MP. Oh, come on, Brendan. This drives me crazy. They'll have to come back to me. No, hold on. I'm not putting up with this. I say his name every second day. Jewish MP, Australia. Josh Frydenberg. There we go. It came to me eventually. Josh Frydenberg is an Australian MP. Let me get his picture up for you. Josh. He made a complaint against me because I sent him stuff about psychotic Orthodox Jews and their quotes. This is Josh Frydenberg. Little Joshy! Little Josh Frydenberg, who is tapped to be one of our prime ministers in the future, right? Trained at the same yeshiva school, which is a Orthodox school for nutcases, in Melbourne as Ben Zigia, prisoner X. So we've basically got a dual national, his Hungarian background, who wants to be our next prime minister. I think that's a bit of a concern, and we'll be giving some time and effort to Mr. Frydenberg in the future. Tapped for our next Prime Minister. Lord help Miss and Mr. Frydenberg. So to my Australian brothers and sisters, please keep a close eye on that guy. I mean, no problem attending Habada Lubavitch events, that guy. No problem at all. Could you imagine that? Do you think there might be a problem with the online world that no one can get their act together? They are handing us ammunition night and day. Anyway, Nachum Goldberg, who was Habada Lubavitch, this is back in 2000. So this is 18 years ago, right? But I want to give you an example. He's not a man who could hide in a crowd with his long black coat, big black hat, bushy grey beard and wide-rimmed glasses. But he was going into the ANZ Bank, which is the Australian New Zealand Bank, and shoving, as we see from the CCT footage, just big plastic bags full of cash. And they said that, oh, you know, he's been doing this for years, and they're saying it, you know, it was, you know, he would send $150,000 offshore, and in average year he would export 7 million. They say he did well over $100 million. He got 5 years jail, 5 years for 100+ million in money laundering. And they said it was from Jewish businesses who didn't want to pay taxes. No, it's from drug money laundering. Thank you, Habada Lubavitch and all the bikies you hang out with. I could name one. Club Deros out of Kalgoorlie, Western Australia, hanging over there with Habada Lubavitch with stars of David's tattooed into their underarms. All involved with organised crime. Go and have a look at it. We've got Diamond Joe Goodnick, another one, another Habada Lubavitch. That's our boy. He finds blood diamonds and gold mines due to the beautiful, prescient, incredible sixth sense of the Rabbi Schneerson, who points him out to where the blood diamonds are. The diamonds he finds in Australia, which are really blood diamonds straight out of Africa. He's just another low-life piece of garbage. I don't even know how have they been getting away with this for so long. I mean, they're basically an organised crime gang involved in kosher meatworks where they were manufacturing methamphetamine. They're caught countless times, all dressed in their rabbi gear, bringing in suitcase loads of ecstasy. And they're complete freaking lunatics, all right? But Donald Trump hangs around with them. Donald Trump hangs around with Habada. Look at this smiling gimp. These people strut around, it's no problem. Oh, we just want to kill you and take your organs and our row. I mean, and it's just everyone's asleep. We're so used to it. Oh yeah, the Jews, the Orthodox, nutcases. Oh yeah, Habada Lubavitch, a bunch of lunatics. They're holding the reins of power, people. Shouldn't we be getting a bit more organised? Shouldn't we have banners? Shouldn't we going to Abad houses all over the world and starting to point out who and what they are? They're now hanging with the President of the United States and his daughter and son-in-law are members closely tied. Their daughter and son-in-law owe billions to Chinese and Israeli banks. Could that have something to do with the unpopularity of Donald Trump, everybody? Could that have something to do with the relationship between Netanyahu, Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump with Habada Lubavitch? Could that have something to do with their unpopularity? You should really read this article by Politico. Obviously, they're not exactly objective. The happy-go-lucky Jewish group that connects Trump and Putin. This article's pretty damning. Where Trump's real estate world meets top religious ally of the Kremlin. Listen, Donald Trump's about drug money laundering. He doesn't have any money. He had to borrow $10 million to fund his campaign. Does that sound like a billionaire to you? Just accept the fact. He's full of garbage. He's just a front entity, an actor for the world. He hosts the World Wrestling Federation and a reality-based TV show. Are you kidding me? He's a successful businessman. He's an actor. He's employed as a frontman. While Gil Deezer and Israeli military intelligence at Sunnyvale or whatever it is in Florida are laundering the drug money through his apartment condo complexes. Oh, run straight. Look, I just go on the happy-go-lucky Jewish group that connects Trump and Putin. Just go and read that. That's just one article of hundreds. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. You know, it goes into Felix Sater. I should read it. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Felix Sater, great friends with Trump. Trump says, I don't really know him. He's meeting in his office daily. Trump, I don't know who Felix Sater is. Do you realize the dirt they have on Trump? They never land a blow. They never land. They just move on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next garbage. And you think, oh, there's this. They're really after Trump. They're not really after Trump. Like they're really after Alex Jones. I'm the tip of the spear. They're trying to wipe me out. Oh my God, I'm only making 57 million. There's a lot more now. Remember his Alexa things? He was going down, down, down. Then they banned him. And remember, he made so many admissions on his stuff. I believe that was part of the reason they deleted his stuff. I do believe the app's still, right? The InfoWars app. The Google store. It's still right there on the Google store, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to go and get it? Oh, he's banned everywhere. Google, listen, they used to protect him. Apps, when I used to go after him, I used to be logged out. That's why I just realized why they went after me so hard before the midterms. And I thought, gee, it's been so quiet. Oh, of course, the midterms. I mean, it's just endless, 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 endless garbage. Endless garbage. Let's just find Felix Slater and just in case you're not aware, I mean, he is so in with the Russian-Israeli mafia, the Jewish mafia. It's just incredible. Oh, Abramovich. You watched, of course, the stuff I put up on the Israeli lobby. You start applying, and I'll do some more videos on it. The Israeli lobby in America, Al Jazeera Part 4, Part 3. And, of course, Part 2 and Part 1. You got to watch them, man. And then apply the subversion of, you know, the Canary mission, how they were going after the BDS students. Just apply how they do that then to the alt media. The alt media online. They just did the same thing to them. They find out where their bad habits are. They pay them off, and that's why you see so many people supporting Donald Trump. It's just ridiculous. But Felix Sater is a big deal. Such timing. Oh, Rosneft. I should have done this properly, really. But I'm just going to carry on. Just go and read this one. It's just one article by Politico. All right? They hate Trump, obviously. But it's just one. And from this one article, you will get the whole loose conspiracy about his associations with the Russian mob, the Russian Jewish mob in Israel. Just from this one article. Let me give you a start. Abramovich, the first person to recommend to Yeltsin he choose Putin as his successor. They were all intimately involved. And Dr. Steve Pachenik bragged he was part of the team that put Putin in power. Boris Verevsky, of course. And you'll see how it drifts down into all the right people. Oh, God. One of Ivanka's closest friends and a friend. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. The links. There's no Russian collusion. There is no Russian collusion. And they think if we just keep saying it over and over and over and over again, it'll be fine. There'll be no problem. Oh, my God. Come on, dude. Of all the times to start vacuuming. No, let's just keep going. It's live TV. Just go. I don't even want to read it. It's just every paragraph. You will get every name you need to research and carry on with. But my favorite is, of course, Felix Sater. Aspen, you'll see it driving into Sheldon, Adelson, Colorado, where are we? Look at this so much. It's absolutely crazy. It's not going to be an issue. Where are we? Come on now. Michael Cohen, he's going down. In late January, Sater, that's Felix Sater, right, who's an intelligence operative working with, heavily involved in organised crime, did jail time for slashing a person's face open. Trump said, I don't remember him. He was in his office every day for a year. Met with Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, to discuss a proposed Ukraine peace deal that would end US sanctions on Russia, which Cohen then delivered to Trump's then National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, at the White House. They're rumouring that Michael Flynn will be at the November 9, which is tomorrow, 2 days away. Michael Flynn will be rumoured to be at this thing that Michael Herzog's going to, hosted by Mike Adams. And Pumpkinhead might be there as well. According to the Times, Cohen has given varying accounts of the episode. Cohen is totally turned on Trump now, totally. According to one Jewish Republican who said he sees Cohen all the time there, Cohen himself is a regular presence at the Midtown Chabad on Fifth Avenue, a dozen blocks south of Trump Tower and a half dozen blocks south of his current office at 30 Rockefeller Plaza. Cohen disputed this, saying, I've never been to Chabad and I've never been to one in the New York City either. Cohen then said, as he last set foot in Chabad over 15 years ago to attend a bris. He said the last Chabad-related event he attended was March 16 at a hotel in Newark when he spoke at a dinner honouring Trump's Secretary of Veterans Affairs, David Shulkin. The dinner was hosted by the Rabbinical College of America Chabad organization. To those unfamiliar with Russian politics, Trump's world and Hasidic Judaism, all those Chabad links can appear confounding. Others simply greet them with a shrug. Yeah. The interconnectedness of the Jewish world through Chabad is not surprising insofar as it's one of the main Jewish players, says Botich. I would assume that the world of New York real estate isn't that huge either. Listen, Chabad Lubavitch are a major point. They're an intelligence gathering operation. They're a security risk. They need to be basically treated as a foreign entity and dealt with. Jail, I don't care what they do, but Mattis, pray God, Mattis just steps in and sorts something out. Securing our interests run by John Swin, Shane and others, and Joseph, of course, Chabad Lubavitch. Chabad is a criminal organization. Chabad is mostly involved in white-collar criminal activities such as financial fraud, tax evasion and money laundering. Chabad has been linked to various Jewish child abuse cases. Joseph Lieberman even openly joked about Chabad being a more extensive intelligence network than the CIA. Remember that the guy that got me charged, Stanley Elliott Keyser, this guy. Oh, boo-hoo. I've just been given 3 years jail and he's saying, you should get more. You just can't make this shit up. What a retard. What a retard. Anyway, he's a, quote, big fan of Chabad Lubavitch, but no problem. They wouldn't let me present any evidence to discredit him. When I asked about Chabad Lubavitch, the judge was shutting me down. I couldn't say a damned word. Look at him. The media was totally behind me. Totally. All right, everybody was behind me. The Jewish community looked like a bunch of dicks. They became hated because of it. That's why they had to start spreading, he's violent and he threatened us. And I didn't even know where their damn stupid synagogue was. Someone had to point out. Remember we drove past that place? Oh, is that where it is? I didn't even know where it was. Freaking ridiculous. But that's Stanley Keyser. Here he is, doing his blue steel. Look, he's gay as a row of pink tents, for God's sake. But this is the length of their little networks. It's an intelligence network. That is Habonindro, which, Prisoner X Ben Zigir. They go to these yeshiva academies, which are run by the Orthodox Jews, and they're training grounds. It's infiltration grounds. These people need to be stopped now, and the liberal reform Jews will tell you all about it. Assuming they were actually ever killed at that synagogue, trust me, the Orthodox don't care. They happily see the liberal reform killed off. But I mean, this is just one thing. You can... If I have to explain the significance of Chabad Lubavitch as being a possible reason why people are a little bit worried, I've probably already lost. I really have. I've already lost. Let's go into other stuff we could talk about. The possible reason why people are getting a little bit sick of Alex Jones and Donald Trump. Oh, poor Donald, look at him. It's not fair.
How do we reverse this nightmare? How do we get on the offense?
Why have we lost? What have we done wrong? We just want to gut deers and drink raw meat and be manly men and shoot our bows and arrows and and you know, why did we lose? We've just got a sexual perverted deviant New Yorker who's was close friends and played golf with the Clintons, another bunch of sexual deviant drug addicts, rapists. I mean, their daughters are best friends, Chelsea Clinton and Ivanka, best friends. That's no, don't worry, it's all good. Israel and China. Asia woke up and Israeli tech companies see opportunities. Israeli companies are taking advantage of growing demand for financial technology or fintech services in Asia. We've got, it's just hundreds of them. Could that be a problem? Maybe a lot of people are waking up to the fact that Donald Trump is selling the country out to China and Israel and Russia. Maybe it's that. Maybe a lot of people are cotton onto that, Alex. What do you reckon, Alex? Could that be it? Alex, do you think that could be the problem? That there are some actually intelligent people that, have cottoned on to your little sexual deviant mate, Donald Trump? Could that be the reason why you're losing rapidly? Could it be that you saying that you must rescue Western civilization by saving Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel, who is just thieving your technology and costing you hundreds of billions of dollars a year now as Donald Trump dumps the Chinese and then hands all the contracts to Benjamin Netanyahu? Could that be a problem that you maybe, a lot of people are thinking about? No, it's the filthy commies. We need more bone broth. We've got to be more manly, he says. What's wrong? Israel's Chinese takeaway security takes a backseat to higher tech and economics. Relations between Israel and China are warming up, and Jerusalem believing the US is unlikely to take issue if exports of advanced military tech is kept out of the picture. And that's a lie. It's a lie. There's tons of stuff being, they're just bragging about their new Chinese J10 they've upgraded, and it's highly maneuverable. It's all that stuff from Israel. They're getting better at their engine technology now because that's from Israel, from the United States. Thank you very much. China and Israel deepening trade ties. So while President Trump is slapping tariffs on Chinese exports and talking tough, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu is happily encouraging his country's firms to accept Chinese investments, as the figures show. Goes on and on and on and on and on. And what has Pumpkinhead got to say? Filthy commies! Destroying this country. It's the liberals. It's Obama and Hillary in their bunker with their gay guy in the limo with a crack pipe getting a head job. Yes, they're destroying the country. And George Soros, Bibi's helpless and he's Israeli. Oh my God, George Soros is coming. What are we going to do? He's just got his hands on the entire infrastructure of the world's technology. But Bibi's just confused and he's helpless. Trump's helpless. He's just the president. What does he do? He can't do anything. Just, executive order, anything. I don't know how long we have to put up with this shit from Pumpkinhead. How long do we put up with this shit from Pumpkinhead? How long? How long must we sing this song? How long? How long? It's just, you got to start going after Alex Jones physically as well. I don't mean to kill him. You need to get in his face and say, you are a sellout to Israel. You're a sellout to the Chinese communists. You're selling us out to Israel. And you need to get in his face. To you liberal left-wingers, if you're watching, please do something useful other than, besides having a shower and a bath, which would help, and getting your dreadlocks made nice. Please go after Pumpkinhead and the Proud Boy Butch Gay Band by going after him on this issue, the economy. Could Donald Trump have lost a lot of seats because people aren't convinced he's actually improving the economy? Could it be that Donald Trump's carrying on about the caravans and the immigrants hasn't been as high on the agenda as people think? It's the economy, stupid. Could that be a reason why the US are getting a bit nancy? The sooner my favorite mad dog gets in power, the better for everybody. He may be a mad dog, but he's our mad dog. I don't care what he did in Fallujah. He did what United States Marine Corps generals do. They kill the enemy. Oh, they were all civilians. No, they were largely emptied of civilians. And yes, it's horrible. There were civilian deaths. All right, but also they were all from Chechnya and all Afghanistan and Pakistan shooting up IV meth, killing and carrying on too. Don't be too. They weren't cuddling teddy bears there. We all wish it had been different. True. Let's feed this former general who has such classic quotes as Sorry. The first time you blow someone away is not an insignificant event. That said, there are some assholes in the world that just need to be shot. There are hunters and there are victims. By your discipline, you will decide if you are a hunter or a victim. And he said, if you're slapping around a woman in Afghanistan, I got to tell you, knocking you off can be a fun thing. I know you don't like to hear it. I didn't particularly like to hear it. We need to get this guy in and point him in the right direction. He gets the info, which I believe he is, on Israel. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we've got to see the right arrests. When we see Sheldon Adelson being wheeled in his wheelchair into Riker Island, we'll know the correct arrests are being made. When we know BB no longer comes to the United States, we know the right arrests are going to be made. And that's the litmus test. Let's just get the US military in. Let's just get rid of Trump and put Mattis in now. I don't care how. I don't care how it works. Just get rid of Trump. Put Mattis in, calm the markets, put in strict rules and regulations to maintain and stabilize the economy, not only the US economy, the world economy, and let's just get down to business of fixing things. Number one, stabilize the US, then go over to Israel, take everything, and I mean everything off them. Everything. They can all go back to Russia. They can all go back to the US, Poland, Germany, and Australia. Bring back the Intel factory, put it in Malaysia, and make it a tourist capital. So Jews that want to live in peace and Christians that want to live in peace and Muslims and atheists and communists and agnostics, they want to go shopping and they want to have barbecues and go down by the beautiful beach and be like Beirut was before the Civil War. And it can be sorted out without question. We need a mad dog. We need a... And that's the warrior monk, Jim Mattis. So all you little bleeding hearts, I'm offended, I'm outraged. Why don't you just shut your stupid mouths? You're getting in the way now. The time is very, very serious right now. So we're going to need a military person to instill discipline, order, and sort this out. We need Israel sorted out, and we need all those Russian, Polish commies sorted out real quick. Real quick. These aren't real communists. These aren't real people struggling for the proletariat to get the working class involved in the economy. I think that's a great idea. Get involved in the factory and having shares in the factory. I'm sorry, call me a commie if you like, a commie with God, but I think that's a great idea, holding things in common. That's moi, but we still need alpha males and alpha females to have the opportunity to build businesses, quite obviously. But we need something new. But this is not about helping the working class people. This is about centralizing power into the hands of a few under the guise of communism. If they want to be right wing, they'll be right wing. If they want to be left wing, they'll be left wing. It's just the same people, just morphing like Dracula into any shape that suits them at the time to get the job done. It's literally what it is. These are fake fights, and when they've created enough tension, they'll roll us in. We need a military man to take over as soon as possible. Get rid of that sexual deviant clown Trump and the equally sexually deviant demon Hillary Clinton. There's got to be arrests. I mean, serious. This is not a joke. It's not just saying this to vent. It needs to be done. It obviously needs to be done. I know enough about politics to know the United States is already under martial law. Just make it official. And then once it's in the open, you'll realize that nothing really changes except you might see the right people arrested. And that's the litmus test. Will the right people be arrested? It might take a little while until Iran is ejected from Syria, Russia is ejected from the Middle East, and things are settled down somewhat. Then we'll see. And if the right arrests don't take place, then I give up. It's clear that the whole thing's rigged, and we better get ready for the robots and drones and medical nanotechnology and vaccination and death. We might as well get ready for that. So I do have some hope that the US military can become MAMRA. Let's not have MAGA, let's have MAMRA. Make America moderately reasonable again. Make America moderately reasonable again. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for perfection, but something needs to be done quickly. So I hope anyway that if this has helped you at all in any way.
You know, Alex, I always have answers. If you notice that whenever you and I have a dialogue and an interview, I've always got answers, don't I?
Yes.
I mean, I'm an eternal maniacal optimist. I believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. I believe in the Ten Commandments of the Golden Rule. I believe in loving your neighbor and helping your family and neighbor and being in the asset column and making sacrifices and taking risks so that you are a productive member of your community so that you can help others when they need it. And I know these people. I know they're everywhere. But guess what? We're outnumbered. The people who believe that we should turn Michigan into a San Francisco feces and needle zone outnumber conscientious, positive, constitutional free Michiganiacs.
Or They just don't like Trump or Hillary and don't really know what to do. I say we take the third way. Former General in the United States Marine Corps, Jim Mattis. Secretary of Defense, Jim Mattis, who allegedly is on the outer with Donald Trump, which means automatically I like him. Hopefully a middle ground, and he knows that Hillary's just a bigger piece of shit as the rest of them. But it's a great litmus test. Imagine, finally, military in charge, order, stabilize the economy, and we start ejecting all the right people. They start arresting the managers of Lockheed and Raytheon. All those people sending all that tech all the way over to Israel and said, we must help Israel. I mean, we just have to. We can't just make this ourselves. And, let's do a technology transfer to the Turkey. I mean, Turkey's making engine parts. And now they're turning to Russia for the S-400 system. Now they said, well, we're not going to give Turkey the F-35 contracts anymore. And then the British said, but if you don't give Turkey the contracts, we won't get our F-35s because they're building parts for the engine and other stuff. Who thought this up? Who thought this up? You can't make this shit up, seriously. So shift it all to Malaysia. That's what I say. Bring it all. Bring that Intel factory. They're hungry here in Malaysia. They are hungry. They can't wait to work, man. This is the place. And they said, Mahathir came back and they said, we'll be transferring all US investment bound for China will be put into Malaysia. That's huge. Huge. And believe me, they're very pro. Remember, they fought the communists back in the 50s here in the Malaya insurgency. The hardcores, man. No communism here. I'm not saying, everyone's a hardcore communist who got a bit upset about the way they were being treated by various elites, including the British and so on. And I'm not so stupid to believe that this place is free from British influence. It's filled with British intelligence. But as a lot of Malaysians says, yeah, but look, we have order. Look at the Middle East now. The New York Zionist Jews took over. Look at it. It's a freaking mess. All right, so even a lot of people will say, all right, we don't like being second-class citizens, but at least the British leave order. Just even if you're a British banker, Jewish Rothschild banker, you still believe in order. I mean, it's just bad sport, oh boy. Can't. It's just not cricket. Must have rules and regulations. Whereas the New York Zionist Jews say, let's just destroy everything. Ah! So whatever people choose to do, please understand that we have our armchair generalship. And we're all sort of, wanting the perfect world. Sometimes you have to, and this is what I've been taught by my little exodus, my little travels in the desert for 40 years, is that there are consequences to your words. And it's sometimes tough. You don't have unemployment benefits and you're worried about the future. You're worried you're going to get nabbed somewhere. I know what it's like now to be the man who comes from somewhere else. And I know that there are consequences to words. And you come to a place, even Malaysia is fairly law and order, but there's people on the street here. There's no unemployment benefits here unless you pay specific insurance. And you look at other countries in Thailand and the Philippines. Life's tough. Life's cheap. And you begin to grasp that, man, let alone going to Africa or places in the Middle East. Then you begin to kiss the very ground of rules and regulations and go, thank God for the rule of law. As imperfect as the United States is, and even Australia, and even my home state, who I'm going to be doing videos on very soon for the corruption, as imperfect as Europe and Great Britain and all the rest, there is a place for the rule of law and the rule of law and order. We know it's corrupt. It's not perfect by any means. But it's time now to really put pressure on Pumpkinhead and his, more bone broth. Let's gut a deer, and we can't work out why Trump isn't that popular. Well, we all know why. There's a lot of thinking people out there. Alex Jones is going to run out of morons to have on side, newbies to the cause who don't have a clue what he's really about. A lot of people are just falling away saying we can't support Trump. He's just that bad compromised. As long as all this technology is just being flooded to Israel the way it is, it's just going to get worse until people realize that Donald Trump needs to go and Benjamin Netanyahu needs a bullet. He needs to be dealt with. It needs to be the point where Benjamin Netanyahu won't dare travel to the United States. He won't dare. And they just need to be totally cut off. And everything put there has to be removed from Israel. Has to be removed. And I don't know, America, it's up to you. You're the taxpayers. You're the ones drinking lead in Cleveland and Detroit. We've shown you, with our friends, doing what they can, doing their articles in securing our interests. These are just guys who are trying to work for a living, thinking, well, we expected that we could just come out, give the basic info, and all the big alt media gurus online, with their 100,000, 400,000 subscribers would take up this subject and tell you about how dangerous the high technology sector penetration of Israel and others is. that we see the multipolar Duginist world order, which Alex Jones had on regularly, Alexander Dugin, talking about making America shrink back out of Europe, shrink back out of the Middle East and Africa, and back into its box so that Russia, China, and Israel could take over. We've shown you everything. There's just no denying it. There's no arguing it. There's no debating it. It's all here. Talpiot talk or securing an interest. It's going to all be changed. A lot of people have done a lot of work, and it's going to get better, and it's going to have donation pages, and we're going to have projects, and we're going to have a toolkit, which means you're going to have a flyer toolkit. We're going to have a little booklet, maybe eight pages, explaining what's going on in the high technology sector and the dangers of Israel and this new multipolar world order they're trying to create, which is the old communist dream, the old Soviet communist dream. And Israel has always been a backdoor to the West. So we're doing the best we can. I want to thank Andrew, sent 200 ringgit, Malaysian ringgit, which is $50 US. And Andrew said, you gave me props in a recent video for sending money, but I never did send any that last time. I feel like I'm living a lie. Without further ado, here's that money you wanted for the laddie boy down the hall. The channel has been on fire recently. Well done, sir. Thank you very much. My favorite laddie boy on the streets has run ever since I took their video. I should show you that video. And yeah, maybe I'll do a cute puppy story. Everywhere I walk by a building site, there's a pack of wild puppies there, very cute. Maybe I should show that. And then maybe we can all get onto Alex Jones and Ted Nugent and let them understand, why aren't you winning? Why are you technically losing at the moment? Of course, they're not going to lose. They'll win. Don't worry about that. But why are you in trouble, as it were? Is it because you're a bunch of retarded fucking idiots? Quite possibly. Not everyone wants to gut a deer and eat that meat raw around the campfire drinking beers. All right, there's a whole range of people out there you need to identify. It's all about jobs, baby. It's the economy, stupid. And Donald Trump ain't fixing the economy. There are no Apple factories coming back. If you look at the indicators, it's not better. It's just an artificial pumping into the economy. But everyone's going down. Don't worry about that. Not just the US, everybody. We know about crypto. We understand how Israel is running all the crypto security, the blockchain, the way of the future. It's all Israel, all getting ready to pump us all into smart cities, smart gulags, and then with their robot overlords, backdoored by Israel, vaccinate and medical nanotechnology us to death. We understand sterilizers. So once we understand that, maybe Pumpkinhead might be able to have a rational, reasonable debate about why he's such a dickhead and why things aren't quite going their way. Winning is very, very easy up against a goblin like Hillary Clinton. It's very easy, but as long as Pumpkinhead Jones and Ted Nugent and Donald Trump want to save Israel and save their friend Benjamin Netanyahu, who is just one of the vilest creatures to ever walk the earth, and the people who are behind him, the Sheldon Adelsons, as long as you have that, there will be no peace. And it's time to go after Alex Jones, figuratively speaking, by getting in his face with the right information, and hopefully very soon, securing our interests, we'll be doing exactly that. Thanks for watching. Should have made this short, but what the hell. Oh, and by the way, Ted Pike, Why the Mideast Bleeds, a must-watch to understand Orthodox Judaism, the Babylonian Talmud, and the Zohar, Chabad Lubavitch, the Zohar Kabbalah. You must watch that. Whole generation's never heard of him now. I can't believe it. And of course, The Other Israel, the full documentary, you must watch. These are just classics. He just did a brilliant job. They're 20 years old, these videos. I know, when was it, 2001 or 2000 he made these, but they're just brilliant. Sum up what Orthodox Judaism is, the scribes and Pharisees, what they've been doing for a long time on both the Babylonian Talmud and Jewish mysticism, which is what Chabad Lubavitch is all about. So please, Ted Pike, Why the Mideast Bleeds, and also The Other Israel. Please watch those. Thanks for watching. And please help Pumpkinhead understand why Trump is apparently not doing too well at the moment. Thanks for watching. I'll try and do a daily. I'm just finishing up the video with Diane. It's got some very, very interesting information on the depths of the penetration of the US high technology sector. We're going to name companies and all sorts of things. This goes so deep, it's going to take a few months to finish. It's huge. It really is huge.